Hello, Teacher Lene here. Today, let's talk about that unit that we all love to hate. You level 3 teachers know which one I'm talking about. Level 3, Unit 5. Birds, mammals, fish, and reptiles. Um, these lessons can be very challenging to teach. They are definitely not my favorite lessons. I was never much of a science student, so I don't really like the subject material anyway. And then add to that that they are very long and tedious. Sometimes it's very difficult to finish in 25 minutes, especially if you have a student who is a little bit below level or a slow reader or a student who needs a lot of processing time. So with those slower students, this is what I do to get through the lesson in 25 minutes, or maybe 26 or 27. But I do finish on time every time, and I always finish. So the first thing you want to do is watch your rewards. This is not time to do find a star or something else that is time consuming. This is my reward. Great, you get an ice cream. Woo, high five. Moving on. That's what I do. The other thing I do is I give stars every 5 minutes, so at 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25 minutes, and I give my secondary reward halfway between the stars, and that ensures that I am looking at the clock at all times and I am aware of my pacing, because you don't want to get behind on a level 3 unit 5 lesson. You just don't. Once you're behind, it's really hard to catch up. So I use my rewards to help me pace the lesson. That works really well for me. The other thing you want to do is make sure, like I said, you are timing your lesson well, 1 minute per slide at the most. You need to be aware of the lesson content. If you do not know the level 3 unit 5 lessons backwards and forwards by now, make sure you preview them before you teach, because there are a lot of these lessons that have some complicated reading passages at the very end. And the last thing you want to do is think you're pacing your lesson well and you get to 22 minutes and you hit 3 pages of difficult reading. That happens in this unit. So make sure that you know what's coming up in the lesson so that you can save time at the end for something more time consuming if you have to. Reading. If you look at the teacher instructions for most of the level 3 unit 5 lessons, it says teacher reads. Now, I don't like to always be doing the reading because the parents expect that their child is going to be speaking and reading. And so if I can, I split the reading half and half with the child. If the child is a slow reader or a slow processor, and I know we are getting behind, I will read and have the kid read simple sentences or sometimes even just the red words. I make sure they always read the red words so that they can learn how to pronounce the vocabulary. But I don't always have them read more than that. A lot of times it's a decision at the last minute on my part, depending on how well the pacing of the lesson is going and how good a reader my student is. I always have them do some reading though. How much? Depends on how much we can do and still get through the lesson. The next thing, go quickly through what is easy for the child. If the child is conjugating verbs in the simple present tense very well, do a couple of examples and move on. If you are sure they've mastered it, hit that subject briefly and move on. If the kid knows the differences between reptiles and fish, knows it backwards and forwards, move through that section quickly and move on, because you might have to explain with and in later, and that's another long grammar section. I try to extend in every lesson, but in this unit, I don't always extend. If I have a student who's struggling, I cut the lesson down to the bare minimum and just try to get through it. I do not teach everything to mastery. We shouldn't be doing that anyway if it's making us go over time. I realize the kid will get the material over and over again through each of the lessons in the unit, so I don't try to master it. I try to teach to the best of my ability. And I stress homework and feedback. I stress review and homework and feedback. And feedback is the final thing. I don't know how often I have written, "This is the most difficult unit in level 3." And it was a long lesson today, and we didn't have much time to extend. Regular review of the vocabulary words is important in this unit. It's important that parents realize that in this unit, we don't have time to teach everything from scratch. That homework is necessary. The kids are going to have a basic level of familiarity with the subject matter, or we're not going to get through everything. So this is not an ideal situation, but that is how I handle level 3 unit 5 with my slower students. It's not easy for any of us. I've taught over 7,000 classes, and I still struggle getting through level 3 unit 5 in 25 minutes. I had a lesson this morning that went to 26 or 27, and it was the best I could do. So that's all you can do, is the best you can do. The longer you stick with it, the more often you teach it, the better you will be at pacing. But unless the lessons are redone at some point, this is always going to be a challenging unit to finish on time. So best of luck to you. I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.